Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Avoiding the
Blitz!
You like to do excuse me. I'm here with my favorite counterpart, Scotty Wishlist.
And I am here with Amber Alert, and we are going to talk about what, Amber?
We're going to do Would You Rather running back edition.
That's fabulous. And at the end of this episode, we're going to tell you our number one running back at the end of this year, who's going to be the number one running back, and neither of us chose CMC.
Sure didn't. So stay tuned for that answer. You might think we're crazy. I don't know. All right, let's get this rolling. Okay, let's start off with something that might be a little controversial. We're going to go Derrick Henry or Isaiah Pacheco. How are you feeling?
Oof, that is very close. Redraft, I'm leaning Derrick Henry, and even though people are going to go, oh, you have to, it's King Henry. King Henry's getting older. King Henry's been carrying the ball 300 times a year, including the Alabama days. So I'm leading King Henry because I can see Derrick Henry rushing for 15 touchdowns this year. I believe Lamar Jackson's getting older too. The Ravens want him long term. So any close plays or goal line plays, you're going to get Derrick Henry the ball instead of Lamar. There's also going to be more play action plays where Derrick Henry might get some screen passes. So I'm leading Derrick Henry, but as dynasty goes, I have to go Pacheco for his age.
Yep, heard that. I would say that I'm leaning Henry as well, but I'm going to, for redraft and dynasty, I'm leaning Pacheco. The reasons why, I know that he's not nearly as big and he can get through the holes a lot better than, Henry just mows people down. So for me, Pacheco, I think, is going to get the early advantage in the season. They're going to save Kelsey for later in the season for the playoffs, and they're going to use Pacheco as much as possible to keep Mahomes healthy, we don't want to see Mahomes running around the field like we did last year. I mean, that was a hot mess, okay? Running around with broken ankles and just crazy. Yeah, so I think that Pacheco is going to have a bigger portion of the pass catching as well, just considering that they're working on their wide receiver core. Everybody's new to the team, and we really saw Reed trust in Pacheco last year, and so I have a bold prediction that you can find in our draft guide coming out next month. All right.
And adding on to that, Amber, I actually feel, don't be surprised that Derrick Henry only rushes for 800 yards this season, and Pacheco will outrush him. I'm just leaning Henry because I do believe there will be double-digit TDs where Pacheco might not.
Yeah, and that's where you really have to weigh your options and then just look at ADP and then where they fall in your drafts. And if you have any issues with that, just hit us up. Instagram, we got you. We'll answer those questions for you. So let's go. Zamir White or Javonte Williams?
Oh, man, who to choose? I hate Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams, stop with the hype. We got Cam Akers times 2 over here. Javonte Williams never stayed healthy in college. Javonte Williams is not staying healthy in the pros. Javonte Williams was never a workhorse in college. He was never a workhorse in the pros. He couldn't beat out Melvin Gordon. And right now, Denver has 17 running backs on the squad. I'm going with Zamir White's upside. His depth chart is Madison, who literally is dog shizer. He was given the role last year with the Vikings and did nothing with it. So Zamir White has all the tools now to be the back with the Raiders, where Javonte Williams, he does show flashes. He puts his head down. He throws people around and then gets hurt. And Denver stinks. And their best player is probably Cortland Sutton, who is not good enough to not have them clog the line on Javonte. So give me the height for Zamir White over the overhype of Javonte Williams.
Heard that. And, I'm going to have to go on the same page for in that book because for me, Zamir White, he had so much potential while Jacobs was out, right? He had 2 games. He only played 6 full games, I believe, but his, 2 games over 100 yards and one almost hitting 150, multiple touchdowns. So it's actually, he only had 1 touchdown, let me not lie. But it's one of those things where I think that, AP is going to really elevate his game, and he's going to elevate the run game as well for them. Obviously,
Yeah.
losing Jake was a big hit, so they're going to have to improve somewhere. And the quarterback situation is, mediocre at best, right? So I think that we're going to have to stick with White in this situation.
Sticking with White also, you gave up Josh Jacobs, and they didn't really fill him in with anybody else. So that gives a lot of confidence towards Zamir White this season.
Right. And the coach speak too. We have to be careful, obviously, in the fantasy realm, and any, football fan has to be careful with coach speak. But AP is really talking Zamir White up. And again, I know you take it with a grain of salt, but I do like when I feel like AP is like a real, like down to earth, real dude. And, he's going to give it to you. Like, I think he's going to give you, like Sean McVay, he like just tells the truth. He's like, here, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? And they don't lead us on like Pete Carroll used to. So cryptic messages. All right, let's hit up a third real quick. Let's do. How are you feeling about Jerome Ford or Zach Moss?
Oh God!
So Jerome Ford's taking over for Nick Chubb, obviously in the interim, and I don't even know if we'll see him come back this season. I can only imagine. I know he's running, but a lot of people run after injury. Zach Moss, I mean, he fits the system well. So I don't know. What are you thinking?
All right, so we all know how. I mean, we don't all know because my draft guide hasn't come out yet. I'm not a fan of Zach Moss. I do not feel he's going to do well this season. But in this case, I am picking Zach Moss over Ford because I actually feel higher on Moss than I do Ford. I think Moss will have more of an opportunity. I think even though Chubb's disgusting injury where his leg went into a direction that made me throw up in my mouth several times, he will be there. Deshaun Watson, I'm hoping, shows some life. Jerome Ford was given an opportunity like Javonte Williams, and he has not exploded with anything. He gave us those one or two games right off the bat. We all got excited. Everybody used their fab money on him, and then they lost all their fab money for nothing because he did nothing. He was a broken down car. Zach Moss has the opportunity. Oh, my God. Can I throw both these guys in the garbage? Give me both their backups. I want Chase Brown and give me an injured Nick Chubb over Jerome Ford and Zach Moss. That's how I feel about it. Bam!
Hot take. All right. It's really tough for me because I've been looking more into Jerome's stats. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns, 44 receptions. And it's like he showed out and he was the most expensive fab of 2023. I mean, that was insane. I'm watching $199 of fab go towards one man. And so that was really an interesting thing for me, especially my first year in Dynasty. So anyways, I mean, Zach Moss, we don't know how many targets he's actually going to get, but he is the clear starter. Jonathan Brooks is still healing. So if we're talking redraft, I'm going to have to hit Zach Moss up for the beginning of the season. And I think Jerome Ford could really make some move towards the end of the season. So if you can get them both cheap, if it's possible to like stack your wide receivers early on, get a really nice tight end, I mean, and then work your way into getting both of these guys, I think it could work for beginning of the season and second half of the season. I don't know. I like to bargain.
I agree with that. Everybody loves a bargain.
All right, guys, let's get to it. Scotty, you tell me who is your number one running back for 2024 season.
2024, he's already showed signs. My boy, Breece Hall. You got Aaron Rodgers, who is coming back this year. Yes, he's not showing up. He's causing his little mayhem, which he always does because he's an asshole. Everybody knows he only thinks about himself. His family hates him. His girlfriends hate him. The team can't hate him because he's ridiculously good. When Aaron Rodgers went down, Breece Hall was hobbling his way 80 yards for touchdowns. He had 70 receptions last year coming off an ACL injury. Now he's fully healthy, has a Hall of Fame quarterback. The Jets got better on offense. The offensive line got stacked up. You got Garrett Wilson on the offense. Breece Hall fully healthy. If Aaron Rodgers does not run out with that flag and trip over himself again, we got Breece Hall, who is going to have 1,500 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns rushing, 80 yards receiving, like a Matt Forte season. You like that, Amber?
Ooh, I do.
It's going to be like an upgraded Matt Forte, better than Bijan Robinson, better than CMC. Jahmyr Gibbs is who scares me, but give me Breece Hall, number one, ending the season Overall fantasy. Over wide receivers, Brees Hall.
Number one overall. Oh my
Overall.
God. Just doing running backs. I'm like, okay, let me get it together. I know you guys are gonna hate me, and you're probably gonna think I'm weird for this, but I think that the number one running back, I'm not gonna say overall because that's just not gonna be it, but Jahmyr Gibbs. This guy has shown elusiveness. He's shown how to get the ball, across the scrimmage line and get into. He's got 10 touchdowns on 2023, right, on his rookie season. And I think with them building the structure, you've got Aiden Hutchinson, and you've got this team protecting them. I think that with him and Amon-Ra, that's really their main staples. I think Monty's going to have some regression this year, and Jahmyr's going to get more goal line carries. And so I see him rushing for about 1,500. He had 945 on last year, and that was basically running a committee. So I think that they're going to send him right up to the top.
And let me tell you something. Amber and I didn't talk to each other about this and why we're such an awesome team. I think that's the 1-2 at the end of next season. I think they're higher than Bijan and CMC. I think it's going to be Hall and Gibbs, 1-2 RBs this year. And yep. I love both of them.
Yeah, and I think there's just too many targets. There's too many targets on the Falcons. It's just that simple. There's too many targets for Bijan. He's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
There's too many targets to spread around. And I think that we're going to see a lot out of Pitts this year just because Kirk O'Chains loves him some tight ends. So anyways.
And Amber made a great point. CMC was number one running back, and the chances of that happening the following year, percentages are very low.
Very low.
Follow the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We lead you to championships. So Brees Hall and Gibbs are the guys that even though we like CMC, he won't be as high as Gibbs and Brees Hall this year.
Nope. All right, guys. Peace out.
Peace.